much for this opportunity, Sushi ma'am, and the Center of Excellence for CSR and Sustainable Development under BRICS and CCI. Thank you for having a series on a very pertinent topic of CSR. When we engage through the government agencies, the context of Constitution of India is always primary, and the influence of the basic philosophy of the Constitution of India as a democratic and welfare government, amongst others, lays the foundation of most of the legislation, including the Companies Act, as in this case. The triad of fundamental rights, the directive principles of state policies, and the fundamental duties guide crucial aspects in various legislations. And I think the basic framework that we see behind or underlying the Companies Act of 2013, including the very important aspects of CSR, I think emerged out of this very basic philosophy of the Constitution of India and the welfare state that is enshrined in it. I think the framework of CSR, which elevates the moral obligation to legal duties and from legal duties to correlative duties for utilizing the natural and social resources of the society and the ecosystem, were rightly pointed out by my co-panelist Darshan. And the Constitution of India, while offering liberties and protections, also expects duties both from the natural as well as the unnatural person, or as in this case, the legal and corporate entities. Thus, I think the concept of corporate citizenship, the public trust doctrine, has brought in idea of CSR, and that's the reason also we are seeing so much of resonance from the business as well as industry. When we try to look at the synergies between the CSR and the Sustainable Development Goals or the SDGs, we know that the SDGs were adopted on the 25th September 2015 by the 193 countries as a part of the Sustainable Development Agenda. We know that the SDGs have 17 goals and 169 targets and over 330 indicators to be achieved with a time limit, where the time limit is essentially 2030. So one important aspect in SDGs is that we have to work on the time limit. I think despite the paucity of time, I think it is important that we read at least the keywords of the SDGs for the whatever reading habits that we now have. I thought I would just go through the keywords of the SDGs, which is one is poverty, for the second goal will be hunger, food security, nutrition, for the third health, for the fourth goal education and lifelong learning opportunity, for the fifth gender equality and women empowerment, for the sixth sustainability in water and sanitation, for the seventh energy for all, for the eighth sustainable economic growth, for the ninth the infrastructure, industrialization and innovation, for the 10th reduction in inequality, for the 11th it will be the cities and in safe and sustainable human settlements, for the 12th goal sustainable consumption, for the 13th climate action for combating climate change, for the 14th conserving oceans, seas and marine resources, for the 15th the terrestrial ecosystem and forest and de-desertification, for the 16th peace, access to justice and inclusive institutions, and for 17th the global partnership. I'm sorry for reading it out, but I thought it would be important to at least go through the keywords of the Sustainable Development Goals to keep us aware as to the relevance of the SDGs. Despite the paucity of time, I again would like to read the keywords in the 7th schedule of the Companies Act to let us know the rather lot of synergy that exists between the SDGs as well as the activities which are to be done under the Companies Act of 2013, which again activities you will find a lot of resemblance will be hunger, poverty, malnutrition, healthcare, sanitation, safe drinking water, education, skill enhancement, livelihood. We have gender equality. We have got empowerment of women, daycare centers, reduction of inequalities by social and economically backward groups. We have efforts under environment, under sustainability, ecological balance, flora and fauna, quality of soil, air, water. We have national heritage, art, culture, public libraries, arts and handicraft, care for veterans. We have got promotion for rural sports, Paralympic sports, as well as we have got technology incubators, academic institutions, rural development, slum area development, and national relief funds also for the social and economic development. maybe these words will let us know that there is so much of synergy, so much of opportunity of collaboration between the CSR and SDGs. When we talk of SDGs, we realize that CSR and SDGs evolved in a rather similar time of 2013 to 2015. And I think it most importantly brought an idea of cohesive sustainable growth mindset. We know that CSR also has a lot of resonance with the framework of SDGs. It in this way allows the corporates in their idea of corporate citizenship to be a part of endeavor to achieve the sustainable development goals. And I think which is important because when we look at the broader GDP of the world, we realize that the contribution of a lot of important and big corporates is as important, as big as the funds available with the government, because the welfare funds of any government will always be a part of their total budget, which is normally 10% of the GDP of a country. So the funds availability under the government, as well as when they come together with the funds availability, the managerial technique, the innovation that can come from the corporate sector, I think is a big way for having great synergy and great collaboration and comparison and cooperative measures between the corporate and the government through the SDGs and the CSRs. One thing I think will be very important to note that there is always a multiple many-to-many correspondence between the SDGs and the CSR. So when you are conducting particular activities under the CSR, you might be achieving multiple SDGs at the same go. So I think this is an additional, in my view, benefit to the corporates that they can, along with their regular activities in government, in business, can also contribute in making idea of shared value a reality. I will just give example of two things. One is, of course, education. When you talk of education, you're simultaneously going together with SDG 1, 2, 4, and 8. So I think this understanding that the CSR activities that are allowed or that needs to be done under the Companies Act do contribute a lot by way of corporate citizenship into the attaining of the SDGs. And I think there has been certain requests to include more components into the CSR activities, but I think would be a part of the legislative domain to work on it. So I think considering the time paucity, I would like to be very brief and just to share the key message that there is a clear synergy, a clear opportunity of cooperation and collaboration between the CSR and the SDGs. So thank you very much, Sushi ma'am. Thank you very much, BRICS CSR Center, for allowing us to share some of our ideas. Thank you very much.